Hello everybody, my name is DennyJanetty, and recently I took a trip up to Killington Bike Park with a really good group of guys. Now, I was thinking about what I wanted to do with the footage I had from this weekend, and instead of posting just raw footage, I kind of wanted to just come on here and talk about kind of getting out of your comfort zone. As I've said a million times, I try to be as honest and be as forthcoming as I possibly can. I'm certainly not the world's best rider, but what I like to do is I like to humanize the sport, and I like to humanize everything, about me in general. Too much of the mountain bike industry is about tech and what bike you have, but not so much about the person who's wearing that helmet or riding that bike. So I just wanted to start by saying that this trip was kind of tough. I am not somebody who really likes to travel. I'm not. Just that simple. Most people who have watched my videos in the past and, who know me, know I really haven't rode many places outside of Mountain Creek and, a couple of trail networks here and there that are local to me. And thankfully, I took a big step outside of my comfort zone. And, I came to this sport later in life, and I know that. And I feel like sometimes I've got to make up for lost time. But, for those who don't know, I used to be a college lacrosse player. And that was kind of all I cared about at one point in my life. And one day I medically disqualified. I had too many injury problems, mostly concussion related, but towards the end of it, my body was just failing because I was just beating myself up so poorly. And it took me about 2 years to feel like myself again, recovering from all the post-concussion syndrome and just my body in general. And when I was leaving that sport and leaving college, it wasn't easy. I went to that school basically just to play because they gave me the opportunity to do it. And, I haven't really talked about this too often, but it wasn't great. The team didn't handle it well. I sort of became an outcast because they maybe, thought I was a quitter or something, but I was suffering. And for the next almost decade, I didn't want to put myself out there anymore. After being ridiculed by people that I thought were my friends and, not saying it was everybody, but I really kind of retreated inward and I just didn't do anything anymore. And then one day, I watched a video on YouTube and I'm pretty sure it was either BCPOV and then Remy Metallier. And I had no background in mountain biking. I was like 29, 30 years old and I said, let's do it. And I did it. And here I am now, standing on top of a almost 5,000 foot mountain with a bunch of guys that a couple years ago I didn't even know, but now I consider to be some of my best friends. And it is just crazy where life can take you if you let it. And I know that that's super corny. And I know that's really cliche, but, had I listened to my brain and just stayed at home, I would have never got to have these past couple days with some amazing people. I also think it's very interesting too when I come on here and I do make videos about being a little more vulnerable like this, that I'm not a risk taker, considering what we do. To me, riding down a trail at 25 miles an hour is nothing, as opposed to getting a hotel in a different state, hanging out with a bunch of people for an extended amount of time. Like, that scares the crap out of me, but yet the riding the bike stuff doesn't. And that's strange, but maybe some people can relate to that, maybe they can't. But I know, as I said, it is crazy where life can take you if you let it. There really is no excuse to not try. If there really is something that you want to try, go do it. It's never really too late, because when you're old and your time is coming to an end, like it will for all of us, you're not going to look back at all those times you sat down and, you stayed in and watched watched TV and played video games and stuff. And doing all that stuff is fine, but these days, these are the days you'll think about. And I know this weekend I will, It's kind of choking me up now just to kind of say it, because it is true. Like I said, a couple years ago, I didn't know any of these guys, and now they're my best friends. And it's awesome. And I'm so glad that I pushed myself outside of my comfort zone to be there. And it's great. I laughed the entire weekend. I had so much fun, and instead of just putting out a bunch of raw trail videos, I figure maybe make it a teaching experience for, anybody who is watching this. Not only is Killington a great place, but it's just, I don't know, it was a cool lesson to learn. There's just so much I've taken from this sport and continue to every day. And I know sometimes I say, man, I really wish I would have gotten to this earlier, but it happened. It took a little while, but I got here. I am who I am, and I'm happy now. That took a real long time. Like I said, as I was leaving college and I had lost something that I loved, and that being lacrosse, it was tough. I think the majority of it was I just didn't know who I was. When you lose something that is your identity or something you love that much, it's where do you go? And I'm telling you, there's a right way and there is a wrong way. It's not exactly the same for everybody, but doing what I did and staying in for about 8 years and flushing away every paycheck you had at a bar just to try to feel something is not it. There's nothing wrong with going out and hanging out with your friends, but it can't be the only thing you do. So, at the risk of rambling, I really just want to say that it doesn't even have to be riding a bike. It doesn't have to be mountain biking. But if there's something you've been thinking about doing, and there's something you want to do, or you've had an inkling to do, like play the guitar or something like that, give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? Go out and ride something.
Hello. That was fun.